Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. We have 3 great stories for you today, starting with the story of the fire department's revenge. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. The police wants us to follow the rules? They can do it too. Voluntary Fire Brigade Station, small town in Germany. The station was near a street, and you couldn't back up in the garage without blocking off the street because maneuvering in front of the station was nearly impossible. A firefighter was blocking the street for traffic when a driver in a Mercedes came along. He braked at first, but then accelerated and forced the firefighter to jump out of his way to save his life, or at least his bones. They went to the police and sued that driver. What they didn't know, the driver was the police chief of a station nearby and sued the fire brigade himself. The fire brigade isn't allowed to block the street, only the police are. The case went on until the brigade chief had an idea. If only the police are allowed to block the street, then they can do it from now on. Every time a truck leaves or arrives at the station, the police were called. Cleaning the trucks, police. Fueling up, police. Training, police. Joyriding, police. More joyriding. You know it. The local station had to get 2 more officers from other stations to handle the volume of the requests until the other chief was persuaded or threatened to take back his accusations. Since that day, no one ever complained about blocking the street while backing up, and the relationship between police and fire brigade is normalized again. And our second story. Revenge at the Department of Motor Vehicles. I work for the Department of Motor Vehicles. In Texas, this means that I process vehicle registration and titles, along with handicapped placards, and provide information about how to minimize personal liability if your vehicle is stolen or was never removed from your name. It's actually an enjoyable job, despite what many think, but it takes a specific understanding of the clientele to get a feel for the job. These are people who have to be here. They have a right to be grumpy, and they've got a right to bring their screaming, unbehaved crotch spawn if they can't find someone to watch them at home. Just last week, I was dealing with a group of 3, a daughter and her parents, who've made the bold assumption that blue blazers and khaki shorts are all the rage, who were none too happy to be at my office. Their first sin was to attempt to skip the line, which led to another patient customer explaining the dynamics of the first-come, first-served queuing. Next, they continued to lean over the line barriers toward our windows to ask a myriad of questions. I don't mind questions that can be answered with short one-sentence answers, hours of operation, county lines, things of that nature, but they're asking me for details on the finer points of title transfer while I'm handling another customer. When I explain to them, I'll be happy to answer your questions when I'm helping you, I get a big loud scoff and hear the father say, "That sounds like the government for you." Charming. Our queue lines are sort of a corral system, and there's one big line, 56 clerks, and the next available clerk takes the next person in line. As luck would have it, the lovely group of 3 saunters over to my window, already huffing and scoffing at the wait. 13 minutes. Yes, I kept track. Me. What are we? Dad. All right, we're selling our daughter a car. Me. All right, selling or giving? Dad. I guess giving. Me. All right, no problem. There's going to be a little more paperwork, I explain as I retrieve the gift affidavit, a paper that takes no more than 4 minutes to fill completely. But we should have... Mom. I don't want to be here all day. It's a sale. Me. All right, how much are you selling the vehicle for? Dad. $1. At this point, Dad looks to his daughter, who looks at me as if I'm the cause of all her misery, produces a single crumpled dollar from her miniature purse, and hands it to Dad. Me. All right, it's a sale. Note, in Texas, there's 2 values you can be taxed on. One of them is the sale price, but there's also something called the Standard Presumptive Value, SPV. The SPV is taking the vehicle's year, make, and mileage, or a flat exempt if the vehicle is 10 years old, or other. Getting the value of those 3 criteria and taking 80% of that value, that 80% is the SPV, and if it's higher than what you paid, we have to tax on that amount. This was a 2013 Acura. It was worth more than $1. At this point, I'm wondering if I should explain this to the trio as I'm highlighting the appropriate parts of an application to fill out. so we don't have to be here all day. The dad asks me what I'm doing, and I explain the color coding. Dad is orange, mom is pink, daughter is yellow. He proudly explains, "This ain't preschool, kid. Give her here." And he beckons for the applications. Well, the first application was trashed in a matter of seconds, as all the incorrect information was put into the incorrect boxes. The second one was filled out by dad instead of the daughter. By the beginning of the third one, which was promptly filled out wrong once more, I've begun to highlight a fourth application to save them the embarrassment of their supposed illiteracy. And sure enough, just as I finish up, I hear the sheepish bleating, "Hey, have you got another one of those?" All the while, I'm listening to a chorus of jokes at my expense, all of which relegating to the fact that I'm a public employee with the added salty bonus of the daughter muttering, "They probably just hired him to fill some kind of quota." Thanks, Toots. I make sure to keep it on my side of the glass and explain to the daughter what she needs to fill out. At this point, mom pipes up with, "If you keep us here any longer, that car's going to be a classic by the time it's in her name." Cute. Up until this point, I've been weighing the idea of turning a blind eye to the sale that went over and explaining the options of a gift transfer, which is a flat $10. Their irate bickering, inability to follow directions, and belittling has turned that option into an idyllic fantasy. With a completed title and application, we get through the transaction. While dad and daughter take turns complaining about having to wait in line and having to be at the DMV, I then hit them with the total. Me, beaming. I say, "All right, it's going to be $934. Dad, "What? How the hell do you figure that?" He slams his palm onto my counter. "I hope your hand is still stinging, guy." Mom, "Oh, that can't be right. What'd you do?" Me, "Well, it's $822.50 for the sales tax, $78.50 to renew the expired tags, and $33 for the title application fee." Dad, "I'm sorry, how much for the sales tax?" Me, $822.50. I explain the virtues of SPV while Dad glares at me as if I'm chanting to Satan and drawing a pentagram over his signature. Dad, "I'm not paying that sales tax. Can't you just go by the dollar?" Me, "Afraid not, sir. Now, we can accept a card, but there's a 2.34% processing fee, a check if you're check, and..." "It's a gift. Can't we do it as a gift?" Me, "It's not a gift, sir. You sold it to her for $1. I witnessed the exchange and therefore cannot tax it as a gift. I'm determined to be as little help as possible by now." Dad, "Isn't there something you can do?" Me, "Well, you can pay for the transaction." Dad, "All right, let me speak to your boss." While I work for the public sector, the amazing thing about my job is that our policies are backed up by Texas state law, which means if someone has a problem with something in our office, 9 out of 10 times it's tough crap. My supervisor comes out to assess the situation. Dad explains it's a gift. I explain I saw money change hands for the transaction, and surprise, surprise, my supervisor backs me up. Supervisor, "I'm sorry, sir, but if money was exchanged for this, which I did see from my office, by the way, it's subject to SPV. Did he explain SPV to you?" Mom, "This is criminal. We're selling the vehicle to our daughter." Supervisor, "I'm sorry, but the state of Texas charges on SPV if it's higher than the sale price. If you have any issues with it, you can contact the comptroller and apply for a refund." At this point, Dad relents. Dad, "All right, look, I'm not paying $1,000 to sell this vehicle to my daughter. Is this," he held up the title, referring to the signatures on the back, "going to affect things?" Me, "Yes, sir. You need to get a new title when you go to sell or trade the vehicle in." Dad, "Where can I get that?" Me, "The Regional Service Center." Dad, "Where's that?" Me, "You'll have to check the state website, sir. I'm not quite sure." I failed to mention I happen to have their phone number and address memorized. Dad, "Thanks for wasting my time." Me, smiling, "All right, you folks have a great weekend." They never did transfer the car. I hope they've learned something, but chances are, if you've got a 2013 Acura with no lien on it, you've already got more money than sense. And our last story. Not qualified for the promotion? Then I'll just do my job. A few years ago, I worked for a furniture store in the back of the store. My job consisted of unloading and loading trucks, assembling furniture, and placing it on the main floor of the store. After around 6 months there, my supervisor announced he resigned, meaning his post was up for grabs. I had all the technical requirements, so I applied, but they gave the job to another one of my colleagues who had more experience, which was totally reasonable. After maybe 1 year, my then supervisor just stopped coming into work for no reason. He just decided he had enough and he just left. No 2-week notice or anything. So while the director tried to get him, I took over the role of supervisor. I was the one with the most experience, which means that combined with my regular work, I was now the one telling people what to do, when, doing the schedule, and all the paperwork for the shipment. 3 weeks later, my colleague was officially fired by my director. In those 3 weeks, I kept doing the job of supervisor and doing it pretty well. So I thought that the promotion would come to me. But my director did nothing. I went to see him, explained what I'd been doing, and asked if I got the promotion too, which he answered that I was not qualified nor smart enough to do this job. After some thinking, I just decided that if I was not smart enough to do the job, then I shouldn't do it. So I went back to doing my regular job, and I also started looking for something else. 4 to 5 days after I stopped filling in, my director came to see me in the back of the store asking, "What the F? The job isn't being done." After all, without me to organize it, nothing was getting out of the store to be delivered to the clients. I just reminded him of our previous meeting, and he told me, "Yeah, I remembered that. What I meant is you're not qualified to get the pay bonus for the job. You still have to do the job, you idiot." I have to admit, I still wonder how he thought that would work. Still a bit dumbfounded, I just told him that if I wasn't going to get paid for it, I certainly won't do the job, and that considering we were already short-staffed with my old supervisor gone, he should be a bit more polite. Apparently, this was an unreasonable request, a total lack of respect to him and worthy of firing me. Yep, still don't know how that would fix anything, but hey, he's the boss. I packed everything and left knowing that the back store, which needed 5 people to operate, was now down to 3, with the most experienced worker having a total of 4 months. It only took my boss 1 day to call me back and tell me maybe he went overboard and that perhaps we could arrange something for the promotion, to which I replied that I would not be coming back since I had a few interviews lined up. I hung up while he was still cussing at me. After a few months at my new job, I heard some surprising news. The store had closed down after 2 other backstore employees resigned. Gotta admit, it felt pretty good to see my old boss finally get what he deserved. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.